welcome to Y Factor. I'm Shreya Upadhyay. Well, India comprises about 66% of young adults. That means all the more workforce, younger workforce and more hands contributing towards economic growth. Now, with budget consultations having started by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman with various stakeholders, we at Y Factor thought, let's go out and talk to young India about what their expectations are from the budget. We are today at the Delhi School of Economics in Delhi University, and we're going to be talking to students about what they feel are the challenges that face the Indian economy, how it can overcome it, and what really are their expectations from Budget 2023. All right, so let's talk to these youngsters at the Delhi School of Economics, the students of economics, what their expectations are in a post-pandemic world from the budget next year. Hi guys, what is your name?
Lisa.
Lisa, first of all, what are you expecting from the budget?
I think that our economy is still recovering from the pandemic, so budget will be quite friendly for the people, and I think there will be quite friendly budget.
Will be friendly in the post-pandemic world. We are seeing various economies suffering from, not just the COVID pandemic, but the Russia-Ukraine crisis as well. Do you think, various economies, not just the Indian economy, will be able to recover next year?
Yeah, I think the economy will be able to recover next year, and as of now I think from the budget we can expect salaried people are mostly in India, and most of the salary is the income taxes are paid by them. So I feel the exemption limit, which is 2.5 lakh initially, it will be increased in the coming budget. So this is what most people are expecting right now.
Not just right now, but every budget we have these expectations that there should be tax exemption and tax slabs should be, reduced, especially for the middle class. But last time when the budget was presented, there was a lot of emphasis on education. The budget was increased for education. The government has also come out with the national education policy. What do you guys make of that? And do you think more and more stress should also be given to research and innovation as well as higher education in the country?
Yes, India has a lot of potential. If we see, it is one of the growing country which will surplus, and it will be the largest in regards of population. So it has a lot of potential, and the students are really innovative. But due to lack of education, they are not able to explore their talents or anything of that sort. But if they will be given proper education, training, research development, they can really excel in every field, and more stress should always be given in education, because we have a lot of youth here who really want that opportunity should knock their door, but it's not possible because people come from a lower background. They don't have enough money in their house that they should go for education more. They start earning at a really early age to help their family, but if they are given a proper opportunities and education, they can really excel in life.
When COVID hit, one of the main sectors, one of the main fields that was severely affected was the sector of education. Especially, people, like she said, who come from not so privileged backgrounds, who could not afford online education. But the government did come out with various, whether it was a particular TV channel or online education, they tried to sort of make it more accessible. How do you think digital education will really play out next year?
I think the digital education has played pretty well during the COVID time, but I think now the expectations will be more high because everything is going online. If we talk about the digital education, it may reach a huge number of people. Now, if like we can see that schemes are coming up with the setup of the internet facilities in the villages. If it's implemented in a proper way and the particular amount is set up for that particular thing, I think the budget may have some criteria for the digital education for the coming years, because it will definitely benefit in the future and it will reach a large number of audience.
You know, we did have an increase in the budget of digital education in the last budget that the finance minister presented. But also, you know, the COVID pandemic had sort of changed the way we make payments, changed the way, you know, our small time shop owners, whether it is the kirana shops that we go to, ration shops that we go to, they also have started taking, whether it's UPI or other digital forms of payment. How do you see the digital revolution really playing out in India in the last few years?
If I will tell you that from 1 week I have not spent anything in cash, I am doing all the payments with the digital only. I think the government should also motivate new things, motivate the students to innovate something in the lines of a digital, we can say digital thing for the payments or anything else. Online payments I think is the best option because it reduces your cash thing, and many reasons are there, we can say.
And a lot of transparency also in digital payments. But that was about, you know, the digital revolution in the country, especially post the pandemic. We are talking about how it has really benefited not just people who can access digital modes of payment, but also those who never used it. Now they have started using it. Guys, you know, हम digital revolution की बात कर रहे हैं इंडिया में. आप लोग क्या सोचते हैं किस तरह से इंडिया ने प्रोग्रेस किया है?
Like what we had seen as a drastic evolution of the IT industry in India, it has greatly helped in making India's UPI as much as a internationally acceptable main, and countries are demanding, or there's a buzz in the environment that they should follow it. The MasterCard and Visa, both the organizations are bearing the brunt of the simple, a small penny system transactions which is cost effective. But there are few loopholes, like it is not dealing with the people who are in their mids, like in 40s or 50s. They are not as usual, or they are not as acquainted to it. So there's much more need for a digital literacy that needs to be done at a college level. There may be like different organizations in colleges that can help.
Which I think is happening. More and more awareness is you know, being done for digital literacy. But आप मुझे बताइए, digital revolution जैसे आपके friend ने बोला कि एक digital literacy भी ज़रूरत है, digital awareness जो अब आ रही है. मतलब जब हम निकलते हैं बाहर मार्केट में, हम देखते हैं चाय वाले भैया भी digital फॉर्म यूज़ कर रहे हैं पेमेंट के लिए. आपको क्या लगता है कि इसका क्या फ्यूचर है आगे, और इंडिया ने कैसे प्रोग्रेस किया है?
बिल्कुल. मैं कभी भी रिक्शे में बैठता हूँ या फिर समोसा लेने के लिए जाता हूँ या चाय भी पीता हूँ, तो मेरे पास कैश नहीं होता. तो मार्केट में अगर 8 लोग डिजिटल पेमेंट ले रहे हैं ना, जो अनएजुकेटेड है या जो पढ़ा लिखा नहीं है, उसको भी एक्सेप्ट करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि मेजॉरिटी ऑनलाइन पेमेंट के साथ जा रहा है. अभी जो वर्ल्ड है, यूरोप के बहुत सारी कंट्रीज में तो कैश चलता ही नहीं है, और जो इंडिया है यूपीआई में लीड कर रहा है. जिन्होंने आधार कार्ड को बनाया उन्होंने ही यूपीआई को भी फाउंड किया है. तो अभी लगभग 12 लाख करोड़ का ट्रांजैक्शन लास्ट मंथ में हुआ है. तो आप, ये आंकड़ा इतना बड़ा है कि आपको इसको कैलकुलेट करने में ही कम से कम 5 से 7 मिनट खर्च हो जाएगा. थोड़े समय पहले ये भैया के पास मैं 2 रुपये का चॉकलेट लेने के लिए गया था. लिटरली वो 1 ही रुपये का था, लेकिन मैंने ऑनलाइन पेमेंट किया और उन्होंने एक्सेप्ट किया. ये कि नहीं कि अब दुकान वाले भी ये नहीं बोलते कि भैया आप कैश ही दो. पहले ये होता था ना कि नहीं मुझे बैंक जाना पड़ेगा. अब उनको पता है कि मेरा पैसा बैंक में सेफ है. बस यहाँ पे अवेयरनेस की बात है, जो कि आपने पहले ही मेंशन किया है.
वो कंफर्ट आ गया है डिजिटल पेमेंट यूज़ करने में. एंड देयरफॉर जब निर्मला सीतारमन जी बजट प्रेजेंट करेंगी, व्हाट आर योर एक्सपेक्टेशंस फ्रॉम दैट? देखिए,
80% लोग इंडिया में डिपेंडेंट हैं 20% के ऊपर. इंडिया का जो करंट जीडीपी पर कैपिटा है वो 150,000 रुपीज़ है, और अकॉर्डिंग टू रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज़ 2047 तक इंडिया का जीडीपी $40 ट्रिलियन क्रॉस हो जाएगा. मुझे लगता है कि कुछ ग्राउंड के लोगों को इसमें शामिल किया जाना चाहिए, जैसे कि ये कैमरामैन सर हो गए, या कोई रिक्शा वाला हो गया, या फिर कोई सिक्योरिटी गार्ड हो गया. इनको लेना चाहिए.
So every strata of society should be taken into account when the budget is being prepared. So this was about, the digital revolution that we are seeing in the country. But last time budget also was significant because it introduced it sort of acknowledged the fact that there are mental health issues. The government allocated a certain amount of budget towards mental health, towards setting up of centers and helplines for mental health teleconsultation. Guys, one of the most significant things about the budget last time was the introduction and the allocation of budget towards mental health. And we know that post the pandemic, mental health issues और बढ़ गए हैं. What do you guys think? I mean, how does the government allocating budget towards mental health and even accepting the fact that, okay, there are mental health issues and we must acknowledge them and we should do something about that. How does that help you or, change the general scenario?
Yeah, government should have some budgets on that also, on the health issues, because after COVID there are a lot of things that happen, like suicidal cases were increasing a lot. So government should provide some of the budget into this.
As a youngster, how does it help you?
So basically, mental health used to be a taboo in this country. So it's really great to see that it's being recognized, because this is something that's serious, especially for our generation. And post-COVID, it's like we don't know what we are really going to do, because the recession is already here. People are losing their jobs. So at this moment of time, it's not just students that need the mental counseling and the mental health issues they are having. There are people who are losing their jobs as well. Recently, a lot of companies just went on the freezing spree. They are not hiring people. They are just firing people. They are reducing their sizes. So at this time, the mental health issues are really on a rise, and counseling should be there. Moreover, just like DU is a central university, what government can do that they can appoint counselors and they can deploy them across central universities, because we will have to start a trend. Then only other universities, state universities and private universities are going to take this up. When they see that this thing is effective, along with this, what they can do is they can also start up career counselings for students, because India is some place where we are always, according to my beliefs, we are underpaid and overworked in the private industry. So that's something that should be taken care for, because that will reduce a lot of pressure from the students. They'll be assured about their future, that there are hirings going on, we have these options for our future. So that will drastically change the whole overview of these mental health issues going on among the youngsters and professionals who are more than 25 as well.
What year are you guys in?
So we are in first year MCom.
Okay, so you are first year MCom students. He talked about recession. That is a big challenge that not just we in India will face, but the entire world will face, especially post the pandemic and now the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Do you guys fear of placements, of jobs, and how much you will be paid eventually?
Ma'am, as such, I don't have fear, because right now we are recovering from COVID-19. So our country is growing, and India is among the top countries which are recovering from pandemic very easily. So yeah, there are many issues. There are companies are not hiring that much employees, but still there is much scope, and we are also doing good in manufacturing services sector. So I don't think that there will be such an issue in the placements.
Startup initiatives are also there, so a lot of job is being initiated from that. So I don't think that will be a fear or a problem for our country.
Okay, so that is one good news. Optimistic youngsters out here who have hope in the country's state of economy. But you mentioned that the Indian economy has so far been very stable as compared to other economies, especially of the Southeast Asian region. Why do you think that's the case? What have we done right that we have had this stable economic growth?
As our country, the nation or the leaders are doing great incentive about health issues, and after post COVID, many such policies and such programs have been introduced by the government to reduce the COVID issues with the people, and by this all the recovery rate and the issue with COVID is very less in India.
So COVID is, better good management of COVID. Apart from this, आपको क्या लगता है, क्या reasons रहे हैं that India has seen a steady growth?
Ma'am, in the budget of 2022, we had a particular initiative of PM Gati Shakti, right, which had 7 engines. Yeah, and integration of these 7 engines along with the national infrastructure pipeline network was a very good move by the government altogether. and that particular aspect includes many other things such as development of multimodal logistic parks in 4 locations. That's just a pilot project right now.
We also have the Vande Bharat Express is being, inaugurated.
Yeah, ma'am, they have launched 400 Vande Bharat Express by now.
So infrastructure development is one of the main propellers of the economic growth, right?
Ma'am, the capital expenditure also shot up from, I guess, 27% to 35%, if I'm not wrong. And that was a very, very, very good initiative on the part of government. The budget itself said that we will have a growth rate of around 9.4%. Well, it was
Okay.
it was
Okay, so that is about the stable economic growth. But talking about the challenges that we will face, that the entire world will face, one of course we're already seeing is that of inflation. And especially the US economy is going through a very high inflation, and there are fears that it might slip into recession next year as well, right? And the other probably is the crypto regulation. Now we here in India have imposed a 30% tax on that, and we're not very, we're not encouraging it, because right now there are certain doubts about crypto. But what do you guys feel about these two challenges? Do you guys think that the Indian economy will be able to sort of overcome them, and how can the Indian economy really do it?
Once the things are sorted, people and the knowledge about the crypto grows, and the people who are in the powerful positions gets to know about it, it will surely be taken up. As you might know about the UPI network, we just take out a phone and we pay for even 5 rupees.
Yeah.
That is a network that we have created. That's not there anywhere in the world. I have friends who are studying in UK, USA, and they are always like, either we have to carry the cash or we have to carry a card.
Yeah.
We cannot just take our phone out and do a transaction with the ease of use. So that is really great, and that's what shows that India is adaptable.
All right, crypto of course is a very niche sort of sector, but inflation is something that all countries are going through. How do you think हम कैसे tackle कर सकते हैं?
India can start producing the crude oil within the country, and due to this the import pressures will slow down, and encouraging the export will help the people of India also. They will have encouraging the agriculture, the farmers income will boost up, and this will give a huge rise in their income. They will have a good deposits. I mean to say that disposable income will be increased, and that will lead to the savings and investment. That what I think the major point can be for reducing the inflation. Secondly, infrastructure is improving. That can directly or indirectly will affect the employment also. So that can also be the reason for decreasing the inflation.
Okay, so as such, we are not right now earning, but still we are planning like where to invest our money, how to plan our expenditure, like how to plan our after 30s 40s when we'll have families, like how to plan things out, and post retirement what we'll do.
What about you?
So basically, I believe that India is one of the countries that can handle and weather the recession just like we did in 2009. So that is majorly because our habits of saving. So where we earn 1 rupee, we try to save 50 paise. That's not there in the Western economy. They earn 1 rupee and they spend 2. So that's one of the major points that we can go through these economical hardships as a country, because we are more focused on saving for future. We think more about future and we try to save for these hard times only. So I think that will help us enable, cross through this inflation and the recession as well.
So our habit of saving will eventually save us from the hardships. Are you saving?
I'm not as of now, but yes, in the future, of course, I plan to save a lot. But the one factor that will determine how much I save is the after tax, earning after tax that I will get. If the tax imposed on my savings, on the income that my savings earn, is way beyond the inflation rate, then it is something that I will think about. I would rather consume my savings right now at that particular moment instead of saving it. If I do not get enough returns on my savings, then what good is it?
तो एक expectation आप लोगों की from the finance minister is, as always, as everybody has, of something to do with the tax slabs, right?
So I was just saying ki if everyone is going to, like, savings is good at an individual level, but if we see at a macroeconomic level that if everyone is going to save, then the demand will be impacted. We should try to save, but we should also think that where we should invest our money. Like, it should earn good amount of money. Like our funds should not remain idle. So we should have financial literacy, that how to plan our savings and where to invest our money.
आप कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हैं?
And now all the financial influencers are very active in now social medias, and by this everyone, even the household people, even mainly the female in the house, they can also financially literate, and it will help to save and invest.
Does it help? Do social media influencers on finance, are you guys taking their help? Yeah?
Some are really good,
Some are,
endorse products.
yeah, some are really good. They have a good impact on us because they are the influencer after all. So this will have a great impact on our investing. Like we know about new things from them, so it will eventually help us in the future things like saving habits. We inculcate a saving habits that we don't have in our earlier age.
So what we expect from the government is to some kind of more literacy about stock markets and other options as well. Because FD is like our parents would say that it's like कि पैसा घर पे ही रखा है, it's safe. So government should try to either introduce more schemes that at least are at par with the inflation, so that the value money of the money value of the money doesn't decrease over time when we are invested it should increase at the end of the day. That's what.
Okay, since you guys are students and you will eventually enter the job market, I also want to talk about the startup ecosystem that the government has encouraged over the past few years. What do you make of it, and what do you expect now from the government for easier sort of setting up of your ventures and for entrepreneurs?
Okay, so startup is like we should create employment. So like graduates and students should be encouraged that they should be creating like such an ecosystem should be provided to the students, so that they can they can think about some creative ideas, innovative ideas, instead of only applying for placements and thinking like working in a corporate job. So they should think that they can also apply they can use their brilliant minds and start a new idea. Like if the government is going to provide them with the financial help, because financial help is one of the most it is one of the most important barrier that stops the people from such startups. So I think that there should be like students should be encouraged, and support should be provided from the government and from the society.
So I'm having my own venture. So I started back in pandemic when I was sitting idle at home. So what I think about is that the government is really encouraging startups, and they are really helping out with the policies, and the regulations are not really hard that are expected with the companies, because startup is something new. We don't know if it's going to work, if it's going to fail. It's like the product development stage. So I think that the credit schemes or the financial helps for the startup should be made more readily available, because if I have a startup that's into product, selling product, it's much more easier to get the financial helps because it's like a production thing. But if I have a startup that's providing services, then it's really hard to get a hold of any kind of funding or any kind of loan schemes that are there for the startups. So I think in the budget something like this should be included to focus on the small scale startup that can grow eventually, but will be dormant and will be really earning on a smaller amount for next few years, because we have seen the startup culture is really growing in India. We are having more unicorns per year than any other country at this moment, and I really love that culture, because that's what we should do. We used to be world leaders, we currently are, and we would be in the future. But if our youth is more oriented towards taking up a job instead and killing their ideas and their zeal for innovations and everything, then we won't be able to survive on a world stage. So I really love that about the government, that encouraging this thing, because this will put us on the world stage.
All right. So, this was about startups, but, two of the key sectors where India has really placed a lot of emphasis and in fact is leading is climate action and space. Now, we recently had actually a private rocket being sent for the first time from India, and that opened the doors for private players to enter the space industry in this country. Now, how will it impact the economy? How does it help the country be put in a global place? Let's talk to them.
When we think about space and research, so there is much talent in India. There are many students, many engineers, many we students, if we get so much opportunities and so much funding from government or from anywhere else, from our own college, we can excel. If we get the support and guidance. So I feel space has a huge thing to do with economy also.
So space tech is something that youngsters expect from this year's budget as well, that it should get a good amount of budget, a good amount of allocation, so that we as a country can progress forward. Apart from space, there's also another sector, another field, another challenge that India is leading in that is climate action. Whether it's cutting down our net zero emissions या फिर international solar alliance, India has taken steps for that. But एक sort of एक tussle रहता है between developed and developing countries, कौन कितना पे करेगा, किसने कितना damage किया. What is your view on that?
Yeah, basically if we see, अगर हम देखें तो developing countries are only suffering because of the climate change, and the developed countries are not ready to accept that. Okay, they are ready to blame another country, but they are not accepting their own fault. So I think the developed countries should come forward and accept their fault, that they were the one who led to this particular situation where we are now, and we need to think about a particular thing, that is reducing the emission. It should not be a situation, I think, where we are talking about climate change or anything. I think in the coming years, if the developed countries are ready to accept that they were the one who has the fault in emission, and they are ready to contribute, I think in the coming future we won't be talking about the climate change or the global warming and anything else. And the big corporates should also come forward. They are also coming up with the renewable energies. We are seeing many EV vehicles, and many more innovations are going to held in this field only if they come forward and they accept their fault, and they are ready to help together, be together with the developing countries, and also help them to come out with this situation.
Okay, so climate finance and space tech are the two sectors which we talked about, which can contribute greatly to the growth of the Indian economy. But, just before I wrap up this conversation, let's talk about the sectors that have the potential to make the Indian economy grow. The sunrise sectors, as they are called. Let's talk about them and understand from these guys what they think, which of the sectors can actually contribute to the growth of the Indian economy. Guys, sunrise sectors की जब हम बात करते हैं, of the sectors that have the potential to contribute more and more to the economic growth of the country, what do you think those sectors are? Which sectors can contribute now towards the growth?
Okay, so basically manufacturing is the only area I think where the government should invest. So talking about in the manufacturing also, because manufacturing at the end of the day is going to generate the employment which is required, and also manufacturing is required because we are importing most of the things from China also, and we are having border tensions with China. So we should search for an alternative. We should create those goods within our country only.
The sector can also contribute in this because we are importing a lot, exporting. We should emphasize on exporting, because that will gonna help our country in the longer term, because it's increasing our import pressure as well. So I think the agriculture sector should be the area where we should invest, the government should invest.
Okay, if the finance minister was watching you guys right now, what are the sectors that you should focus on in this budget?
So I would say the service sector and the sectors dealing with renewable energy, because fossil fuels is something that we cannot do about. If we don't have it, we don't have it. We'll have to import it. But renewable energy is something that we can produce. That comes under manufacturing.
I think the government should focus upon artificial intelligence along with geospatial systems and yes, solar systems, solar excavations as well. The rockets and all that which are happening right now, space shuttles and all. But the hot topic would be artificial intelligence. We all heard about the Twitter takeover by Elon Musk. Yes, well, that too is a part of AI. The co-founder of SpaceX, the owner of SpaceX and Tesla company. So, he focuses a lot on artificial intelligence, and that is actually not wrong. Artificial intelligence, if we look at anything right now, any application that is being built right now or being developed right now, be it even UPI, everything works on artificial intelligence, right? Deep down, the core is the artificial intelligence, the software, the algorithm that the developers have worked upon, and they are continuously building. over the years.
The dream of becoming an Atmanirbhar Bharat has to be realized through various challenges that have to be overcome through sunrise sectors, like they said, whether it's agriculture or renewable energy or industry 4.0. All of these sectors have a lot of potential to really contribute to the growth of the economy, and these youngsters, as you heard them, had a lot to say to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and from their expectations from the upcoming budget. Well, let's see what the budget holds and what really we will get when we see the budget being presented on the 1st of February next year. This is it in Y Factor right now, but of course next time around we will come up with something interesting. Till then, bye-bye.